Guten Tag. In this video, I'll be talking about the learning strategy that I think is one of the most effective ways to learn a foreign language. So, first step, you need to find content like a text or movie that you know by heart and are willing to read or watch every day. And if it's a text, you should find the audio to it and listen to it while reading. The main idea is that you already know what the plot is about, and that gives you comprehension. You aren't just listening to some random stuff, but rather something you're very familiar with. It helps you to automatically connect the words and intuitively learn grammar. As an example of a movie, let's take one of my favorite franchises, Jurassic Park. I'm sure most of you are also familiar with it. So in the third movie, Dr. Alan Grant gets abducted by a couple of weirdos that lost their son on the island full of dinosaurs. And when he asks them why him, they explain this by saying that he has a lot of experience with dinosaurs. To which he replies,
I have never been on this island.
Now, if I watch this movie in German, I'll already know what Dr. Grant will say at that very moment, so I don't even need any subs in English to know what's going on. Now, let's take a look at a text. For example, the book of Genesis, just because a lot of folks are familiar with it. On this image, I merged two texts and highlighted some of the words that can give you the idea what they mean in your target language. This technique is very similar to reading side by side, but with this method, we don't get distracted by our native language. We want our mind to do some mental exercises trying to find the analogy while reading and listening directly in your target language.
Im Anfang schuf Gott die Himmel und die Erde. Die Erde aber war wüst und leer, und es lag Finsternis auf der Tiefe, und der Geist Gottes schwebte über den Wassern.
This is just a short sample, but it already gives us so many useful tips if we know what we are looking for and pay great attention to detail. For example, if you take a look at these sentences here, you can see that German grammar is not as strict as English one. And right here, you can notice that in German nouns are capitalized. In addition to it, you can notice some cognates, i.e. the words that share the same origin, like, for example, these words here. You can apply this technique to any text you like, and your comprehension will skyrocket. After listening to it many times, you'll be shocked when one day, out of nowhere, you will start producing sentences in your target language, and that's how you build a connection in your brain. The connection word-image. Like if I say cat, you imagine immediately this and not this. But that's because you've had a lot of experience with these words in your native language. But if I say Frau and tell you that it means woman, you can hear this word 10 times and still struggle to get an image in your head until you hear it so many times from different sources that the connection is strong enough for you to automatically recognize it. That is the way you get to speak your native language without thinking of every single word. And that's why it gets easier to learn the languages that share lots of common features like vocabulary, phonology, or grammar. For example, it's a bit harder to make a connection for the above word Frau, but it gets easier for the word Mann. That, as you might have guessed, means man. So in my opinion, this is a more fun way to learn a language than constantly trying to translate unfamiliar text, because if you walk into a room right in the middle of a conversation, you won't get the point immediately, even in your native language, yet alone the language you just started learning, especially if you aren't good at the discussed topic. So you're a toddler in the crazy world of languages, therefore you need something to help you make your first steps. Then let it be full of fun and excitement. And bye for now. Tschüss.